Alright, good day everyone. So today we're gonna do another unboxing video, and this time it's gonna be the Monsterarts Hedorah, the 50th anniversary special set. But before we begin, I'd like to invite everyone to please subscribe to the channel and hit on notification bell to get the latest updates from the hobbyist. So yeah, let's begin. So again, this is the Monsterarts Hedorah 50th anniversary special set. So this is actually the first figure for Hedorah in the Monsterarts line, and it's a rare figure. And what a way for Monsterarts to give such a figure by, well, if you look at the promo stills, there's like 3 or 4 figures included in this package. So yeah, before we look into all of that, let's focus on the box first. So this is what the box looks like. This is actually the brown box, or the protective box of the actual box of the figure. So this is what the front of the box looks like. So we have the title, Hedorah 50th anniversary special set, Monsterarts Tamashii Nations logo, branding information. On the sides, really nothing to see. And then at the back, we have the Japanese translation. So yeah, that's basically what the brown box looks like. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up this box and see what the actual box looks like. Okay, so this is how the actual box looks like. So as you can see, it's designed really well. If you've seen the 1971 movie Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Hedorah was actually the main antagonist of that movie. The movie is basically very psychedelic in theme, so it's very hippie, if you will. And the box really incorporates all of that themes inside its design, and I really like what they did here. So it's a 50th anniversary special set, and at the same time, it's the only Hedorah figure in the Monsterarts line. Although, of course, you'd argue there are a lot of vinyl figures for Hedorah, but if you know Monsterarts, they're gonna put a ton of their articulation in there. So I'm really excited on what the figure looks like. Anyway, before we go there, this is what the front of the box looks like. So we have some branding information, the Tamashii Nations logo, Tamashii Nations quality, and then we have Bandai here. We also have some trademark information. As you can see here, it's one of the first trademarks released by Monsterarts for 2022. And at the front, you could see what like a sample pose of the figure. On the top, it just says Monsterarts Hedorah 50th anniversary special set. On the sides, so on one side, you can see a picture of the figure again in black and white, and then the text Monsterarts Hedorah. On the other side, just the title, Hedorah 50th anniversary special set. And at the back, we have some poses of the figure here. So let's see if I can make it clearer for you guys to see. Yeah, there. So there are like 3 forms of Hedorah here. So we have the Aquatic Form, and then we also have the Flying Form, and then finally we have the Perfect Form, or the one that's really the kaiju of the whole thing, the whole bunch. And it shows you some poses of the figure. It shows you some semblance of articulation here already, and then it shows some stands and some accessories that comes with the figure. And it's one of the things that really attracted me to this set, is because if you get a vinyl, you don't really get the Flying Form or the Aquatic Form. But here, Monsterarts really didn't put any stops in releasing such an awesome figure. Although, yeah, we'll see about that later on. So at the bottom, you also see another pose of the figure and some of the warnings and the standard warnings basically on all its Monsterarts boxes. So yeah, without further ado, what we're gonna do next is we are gonna open this box and see what the figure looks like. Okay, so out of the box, this is what we have. So we have Hedorah's Aquatic Form right here. And the aquatic form actually comes with two stands. So it has like a swimming stand, if you will, and it has like a display stand when it hits land and becomes amphibious. So to put it on the flight stand, just to get it out of the way, you just have to line it up, and the underside of Hedorah's tail, if you will, has some sculpt in such a way that it fits perfectly when you put it on top of the stand like that. So when you display it, it's not gonna go anywhere, although it's just basically put on top on the of the stand here. Now, the puddle that we have here, as you can see, the sculpt also allows you to place Hedorah's head seamlessly on this puddle. So all you need to do is just remove it from the peg right there and then stick it in to the puddle onto the peg, and as you can see, it's a nice fit. It looks nice. So great job by SH Monsterarts on that one. Now moving on to the next, we also have Hedorah's flying form. So the flying form is, I was surprised because it's actually a large figure. So it scales really well with the SH Monsterarts 6-inch figures, and I really love the details on those eyes. So as you can see here, the underside is also really nice. So we're gonna look at the articulation, or the paint application of the sculpt later. It also comes with its own flight stand. So just like the aquatic form, all you need to do is basically to line it up, and the sculpt of this flight stand has some of those grooves that are consistent with how the actual figure is sculpted. So it's a nice snug fit when you place it on top, place it underneath the figure, and so when you put it, it's really easy to pose. It's really easy to put onto the stand like so. Anyway, so that's the flying form of Hedorah. So before and then finally, Hedorah also comes in its perfect form, or the kaiju form already, and this is what the kaiju form looks like. So it's a nice size. I really like the size on this one, and yeah, so it's really imposing. Really looks like what it looks like in the movie. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at the sculpt and the paint application of these figures. Okay, so let's start off with the aquatic form. So as you can see here, the aquatic form is actually two parts. So we have the tail section, and then we also have the head section. So on the tail section, the sculpt is really well. It's a bit shiny, and it has like two gradients here. So it moves from a grayish color to a blackish tar color, if you will. And it's consistent with how it was in the movie. So we have some what looks like is gonna be like some fins of Hedorah, and then you have like the underbelly section of the monster, which is really nice because they really thought about sculpting the whole thing really well. And even though it's two sections, it works. So it you could still see the delineation between the head and the tail there, but overall the sculpt is really well. I like how they sculpted the face, so it's consistent with how it was in the movie, if you ask me. And what really struck me the most on their design is how they sculpted and how they painted the eyes. So as you can see, it's very expressive. There's a lot of details in there, and it's basically one of the traits or one of the key designs in making a Hedorah figure and even the the details on the eyes are spot on. The color of the eyes is basically like a deep red color. I'm not sure if it's showing well on the camera. Let me make that a bit lighter so you could see the colors pop out. So yeah, so as you can see there, it's a nice deep shiny red color, and it works. So it's really smooth, really nice. So that's basically our aquatic form. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to make this into like a semi-amphibian mode, or amphibian, yeah, semi-amphibian mode, so what you can do is just to detach the head off of the tail section here and attach it to the puddle. So there is only one way for you to attach it, since basically the mold of the figure is sculpted on the profile of the figure is sculpted on the puddle here. The puddle is basically a translucent plastic. It seems like it's made of resin, if I'm not mistaken, and it has a base that is a moss color, if you will, and all you need to do is just to attach the figure onto the top of the puddle, and it attaches to the peg really well, and it blends perfectly into the puddle, giving you this nice amphibious look for Hedorah. So yeah, let's move ahead and look at the flying form. So the flying form looks like this. So let me zoom that out for you. Yeah. So this is what the flying form looks like. And just like how it was with the aquatic form of Hedorah, as you can see, the details on the eyes are amazing. It's really impressive, if you will. Very smooth, very shiny, very imposing. I like how they sculpted the body as well. So this flying form is actually pretty huge, if you ask me. I wasn't really expecting this to be this big, and now that I'm seeing it in person, you're basically getting 3 figures. This is not an accessory, this is an actual figure. So yeah, anyway, there is no articulation on this figure, but the sculpt is really well made. So if you are familiar with stingrays, this one looks exactly like it. I mean, the ribbings on the creases on the edges of the fins, or of the body, is amazing. So it's sculpted really well. It even looks like a prop, if you ask me. Now, my only gripe here is, if I remember correctly, in the movie there is a lot of color on the back of the body here, and that's basically what's gonna turn into much more of the color when Hedorah evolves into the perfect form already, or the final form. So there's like a hints of red and yellow on the back of the body here. On the underside, again, so they've made it consistent to make sure that the details on the belly and probably the gills, if you will, are also sculpted. I was expecting this to move up and down, but it seems like it doesn't do that. Although it's made of a soft rubbery plastic, the gills. So I'm not sure how good it will, or how well it's gonna hold up. But the nice thing about it, since it's a softer plastic, the chances of you breaking this is pretty small. So it looks like vinyl, if I'm not mistaken. So it looks like a vinyl material, while the rest of the body is really hard plastic. So yeah. So again, just like the Aquatic Form, the nice thing about this is when they sculpted the flight stand. Sorry, this is for the Aquatic Form. So when they sculpted the flight stand for Hedorah's flying form, there are some crevices already that contours perfectly with Hedorah's underside, so that when you place the figure onto the stand, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's the nice thing about their design of this stand. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at the perfect form of Hedorah. So the perfect form is really the highlight of this whole review. So I liked the details again, similar to how they did with the first two forms. The details on the eyes are really top notch. So you could see it really looks ewy. It looks imposing, the eyes, and it's still very smooth. I like how they did the pupils on the eyes are really stand out, and it's really one of the key elements of this figure. And then finally, you have some cracks on the head, similar to what Hedorah looks like in the movie. You could see a lot of that detail looking out, you know, those intricate smog details inside of Hedorah's head. And then looking at the rest of the body, I really like how they sculpted this. So the lines are really fluid. It hides a lot of the joint marks really well. My only gripe here, which we will talk more on the articulation, is they could have added some more flaps on the neck area, but more into that later on. But in terms of sculpt, from top to bottom, the front section really looks how it looks like in the movie. So SH Monsterarts really did a good job in sculpting this figure. Now looking at the back, this is what I was mentioning earlier with the flying form. They have these patterns also on the back of the body, which was a missed opportunity really, because it doesn't really need any sculpting, just like what they did here. So it's basically just applying some paint. Now my only gripe here on the paint application is how they applied the yellows and the reds on this figure. So this should have been hand painted, I think, and I think they did just that. Or maybe they have some sort of stencil that they used so that to make it more uniform. And I understand that they probably used some sort of stencil, but the problem with that is that you're actually painting it on an uneven surface or a very organic surface. So I know that there is some sort of difficulty in doing that, especially if you're using airbrush, and then you have like some stencil that's on top of the figure. It's probably difficult, but because of that, you could see some of the bleeding on the edges of the figure. It's a small detail, but it's there. So as you can see, if you've seen the movie, you wouldn't see some of those bleeds on Hedorah's back. So those are really painted by hand. Anyway, it's a small detail, and I've seen some of those bleeds, especially on the yellow. It's very, very obvious compared to the reds. Now, moving on to the tail section, you could also see some of the bleeding on the red area. Some here, and some here where it's hastily painted. And then you have a lot of red paint that is sticking out on that end of the tail. But yeah, small detail, it is what it is. Okay, so now let's go on and look at the articulation on this figure. And the nice thing about this figure more than anything else is that SH Monsterarts really put lots of articulation on their figures. Compared to the vinyl figures, there's really like very little movement on the figure, if at all there are some movement. So anyway, when looking at this figure, it has basically all of the articulation are employed using ball joints. So on the head, there is a ball joint that allows the head to move side to side, at least that far. It's basically hindered by the design of the flaps on Hedorah's head. But if you can move it, and the nice thing about it is that the flaps are basically soft, rubbery plastic, so it can really move side to side. On the back of the head, you can also see some flaps. So there's one here, and then there's another one on the other side. So these are all ball joints. So the nice thing about it, if you post it one end, you could actually use those flaps to cover the gaps that will happen because of the movement. So that's really something that SH Monsterarts have mastered through the years. And then moving on to the arms. So the arms also have like another flap here. So there's one on this side, this one, and then there's another one on the other side. So again, the purpose of that is basically to cover the gaps that will happen when you move the arm. And then the arm is basically composed of 1, 2, 3 ball joints. So that allows you to move the arm ever so slightly up that far. And then the other side allows you to move it that far as well. So this is where the problem that I mentioned earlier, that I was about to tell you, this is where the problem lies. Because there is like this big piece of plastic covering much of Hedorah's neck down to the abdominals of Hedorah, or down to the waist. So because of that, you're really limiting the movement of Hedorah's arms. And Hedorah's arms also come with a lot of this dangling plastic here. So the movement is really limited. So you could probably move the arm up this far. So Hedorah might not be able to choke Godzilla because of that. And hitting Godzilla on the face would be very, very difficult, to say the least. But yeah, you need to be more creative if you want to do that. Anyway, so that's how far it will go. And then on the waist, so it's also connected by a ball joint, so you could move Hedorah side to side. But again, because of the design, there's really little movement going on in there. And then finally, onto the leg section of Hedorah. So the legs, there's also like flaps that are hanging out that are connected by ball joints. So there's one here, there's another one on the middle, and then there's another one on the other side. Now, one of the issues that I've seen in the articulation as well is that the legs are pretty loose on mine. So both legs on mine are already pretty loose to begin with. So I guess the reason there is that the socket is a little bit too small. I mean, the ball joint is a little bit too small for the socket. So we would probably put some, since it's ball joint, it's easy fix. So all we need to do is like put some nail polish on the head, so that it will make the joint tighter. But yeah, as you can see, it's a bit wobbly, it's a bit loose already. So yeah, the leg on by the way, it's composed of 1, 2, 3 joints basically. So the only problem is, because it's a little bit loose, it's pretty hard to make Hedorah pose higher than what we wanted to. But anyway, moving on to the tail. So the tail is composed of 6 sections. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So those are all ball joints. So you could move Hedorah's tail in a lot of range of motion. Of course, with the limitation of those flaps hanging out on the side of the tail. But the motion's there. Anyway, so that's the articulation on this figure. So what we're gonna do next is we are gonna compare the size of this figure with the other figures that you might have in your collection. Okay, so this is how the SH Monsterarts Hedorah stack up against its latest foe, which is Godzilla 2004. So this is an SH Monsterarts Godzilla 2004, or Final Goji, from the movie Godzilla Final Wars. So as you can see, they are roughly the same height, and this is what it looks like compared to the aquatic form and the flying form. So the flying form is really imposing. It's a nice figure. The size looks really well compared to our 6-inch SH Monsterarts figures. So it's not too small, and really a nice figure compared to the, so this is really a nice set compared to the other SH Monsterarts figures that you might have. So yeah. Okay, so my final thoughts about this figure. SH Monsterarts did an awesome job in releasing this 50th anniversary set. So again, you're not just getting one Hedorah figure, you're getting basically like 3.5 figures. So you have that figure wherein the Hedorah hits land, you have the aquatic form, you also have the flying form, and finally you have the perfect form. Yes, it doesn't come with any other accessories other than those 3.5 figures that I've mentioned and the stands for them, but the chances of SH Monsterarts doing that again is pretty slim. So if they do re-release like a special color version of Hedorah, it's probably just gonna be the perfect form right here, and a special color version would make sense because if you see some of the issues that I've highlighted in the paint application, wherein they hastily, airbrushed the thing, if they could improve that, then it's probably gonna be a better figure than this one. And we did highlight some flaws earlier, so like the articulation on the legs are pretty loose, something that's easily fixed with some acrylic paint or some nail polish. So those things you can do, but other than that, SH Monsterarts did an awesome job in the sculpt. Most of the paint application, if not all, even the colors of the paint, are really reminiscent of the Showa Hedorah. So it's really an awesome figure. Now, of course, the deal breaker here, which is probably why some collectors would probably pass on this set, is the price. So the price is around $210 here in the Philippines, or roughly around $200. So it's really a deal breaker for a lot of collectors here. But if you are a fan of Hedorah, or if you are a fan of the SH Monsterarts in general, this is really an awesome figure to have. The sculpt is really nice. I love how they did the eyes. The paint application for the most part is very consistent with the movie, and you would argue that even the flying form and the aquatic form are really well made. So SH Monsterarts really did an awesome job here. And of course, the articulation, the engineering that they put into this figure, it's really top notch. It's really a premium figure. So is it worth $200 though? I don't know, but considering that we are willing to pay like $100 for one figure without any accessories whatsoever, and you have like 3.5 figures on this one, I guess it's a steal. If you ask me, it's a steal. So yeah, so if you have an opportunity to pre-order one of these, or if your local toy shop offers them, then I do suggest you get one of these. Okay, so at this point, you should be seeing the shoutouts on today's video. If you want to be included on the next roll call, all you need to do is drop us a comment down below, show us some love, subscribe to the channel. So what do you think about this set? Are you loving it? Do you have one already? Are you excited for your pre-order? Do you hate the set because it's too expensive or the articulation isn't really that good? Let's talk about it on the comment section below. If you have any questions, by the way, you could also send us a comment, or you could reach us through our social media platforms via Facebook. We are available on Facebook, The Hobbyist. You could also check us on Instagram, The_Hobbyist. And then finally, you could actually support the channel by hitting on the thanks button, and you could send us out some more love by being a member of the Hobbyist. So we have very cool perks for our members. You could access some members only content. So, and we also have like 3D files, the ones that are featured in the channel. We could give them out for you for free if you are a member of the channel. So do check those out, and those donations will go a long way in helping this channel. So again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for supporting our channel. And so yeah, I guess that's it for me, folks. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.